And welcome back to the Pit Strategy Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff.
And I am Matt.
And we are back.
We are still alive.
We're still alive. We're not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Lawrence Stroll's assassins have been foiled yet again.
Tis a flesh wound.
But mostly dead all morning. No, it's been a busy couple of weeks, and just trying to find the time to sit down and record has been tricky.
You had to go out of town for work, and things just kept happening. Life.
Yeah,
honestly,
life got in the way.
Life is the only way we can put it.
And as much as we would like Formula One to be life, sadly, something else has to pay the bills for now. So we apologize for our tardiness and absence, but we are back.
And boy, we have a lot to talk
we got
about.
a lot. We missed Miami, we missed Imola, and we are running up right on the heels of the Monaco Grand Prix. But we'll get into all that here shortly. Let's start off with the dispatch. Cover all the news in our absence, which luckily there wasn't a ton, but there was a few big ticket items. Firstly, congratulations to Max Verstappen and Kelly Piquet on the arrival of their newest little one, Lily.
The most efficiently bred racing driver to ever exist.
Both her grandparents are Formula One drivers. Her father is a Formula One driver.
Like, it don't get too much better than that.
Yeah, if that kid's going to be anything in life, I think racing driver is probably pretty high up that list.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be hilarious if he becomes like a dentist or something.
Just something bland.
Yeah. What do you do? I'm a paralegal. Lily Verstappen.
Verstappen at law.
Inspector Verstappen.
I do appreciate that somebody asked Max, is racing in her future, and he basically just said if she wants to do it, I'll show it to her. If it's something she wants to pursue, I'll help her however I can, and make sure she succeeds. But I want it to be something that her heart is in, and seal of approval from moi.
Yeah, I agree. I think he learned from Yoss's failures there.
No more gas station visits.
Yeah.
In the Verstappen clan, hopefully.
Yeah, no need to start patting the Lily Verstappen therapy fund just yet. Give it time.
Not yet.
But no, congrats to them, and I'm sure they're super thrilled to be parents together. They definitely deserve all.
Seem very happy.
Yep, deserve all the happiness there. Next on the docket, good old Oliver Oakes departed from Alpine as their team principal after not even a year. If he'd have made it to Spa, he would have been in the position a year.
Yep.
But he did not make it.
Very mysteriously how he just decided to do this out of nowhere.
Well, a lot of interesting mitigating circumstances there. So apparently he resigned, and what he told Alpine was personal reasons. However, his brother was arrested in London for some sort of crime, which may have had something to do with it. But then Oliver himself showed up in, I believe it was Abu Dhabi, working with a local racing team, and apparently is trying to get another team entered into like a Formula 4 category or something like that. And apparently he felt better suited to go pursue that than being Alpine's team principal.
I mean, this is Alpine we're talking about.
This is Alpine. If it were any other team, we might think that's bunk. But and how much would you like to work under Flavio Briatore?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass from me. So I can understand wanting to ply your trade elsewhere. And on that note, Flavio is not being referred to as team principal, but he is taking the helm in the interim as a strategic advisor from the Renault Group to the Alpine.
It's
brand.
a puppet government over there.
Sounds like
basically.
it. Yeah, definitely something happening over there. The Instone team, and I feel bad for the revolving door of reserve drivers and poor Pierre just constantly getting.
I mean,
caught in the middle of it.
At least they haven't gotten the guillotines out yet. We're not there quite yet. Yeah,
I was gonna say the key word there being the French. Anything can happen.
Is Briatore the Robespierre of F1?
He might be. Also in the Alpine camp, going into Imola, Jack Doohan was replaced by Franco Colapinto.
Rest in pieces.
Rest in pieces. And that whole thing was just kind of a weird deal. So Doohan got sacked. The official news coming from Alpine Incorporated was that Colapinto had been signed to a 5-race contract. However, during his F1 TV interview, Flavio kind of indicated that as long as he performs and does decent, he has no end to his contract. And so it's one of those things of I think all these drivers just serve at the whim and pleasure of Flavio's mental state for the day.
Yeah, that's almost worse than Helmut Marko.
Just about. Those two, I think, are cut from kind of the same cloth.
Yeah, that's like a Helmut Marko with no reins.
Yes.
And that's terrifying to me.
Yes. No reins and unlimited French money, which is terrifying.
Even worse.
But yeah, so when Doohan got replaced, even throughout the Imola weekend, the poor guy was being incessantly bullied on social media by Argentinian fans. Poor Doohan, his father kind of got involved and kind of stoked the fire, and it's kind of created this whole social media controversy between the Doohan camp and Colapinto fans around the globe. And if there's one thing I've learned watching international sports is that first rule is you don't mess with Argentinians. They're very vindictive.
We learned that after the World Cup.
Yeah.
When Germany took that win.
Yeah. And the second thing is nobody needs to be a keyboard warrior in any professional sport. It just doesn't pay.
Especially when you're on the inner workings of that sport.
Yep.
You're just gonna stoke the flames and not really resolve anything.
Yep.
Definitely. I am confused. We'll just go ahead and dive into this really quick. Yuki Tsunoda is also a victim of this bullying after Imola. He didn't actually flip Colapinto off, right? He just gave him like one of the hand.
It gave him a hand, but the way the camera caught it, it looked like a middle finger.
It kind of did, yeah, but onboards show otherwise.
Yeah.
The Argentinians did not care.
No, they did not.
And they got real creative.
Yeah, they did.
We'll put it that way.
Yep.
So I'm just curious as to why it took so long for Alpine to come out and say anything about it. It took them until the Yuki debacle happened.
Yeah. The only thing slower than the Alpine tractor most days is their PR department.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like none of the F1 teams are kind of ahead of the power curve when it comes to getting things right like that.
Yeah. They race, but they're not very good at racism.
No, they are not.
Unfortunately.
They're professional racists.
You know what this means?
What?
Unless Jack somehow gets back in an F1 seat, this means that his final full lap in an F1 weekend was the Lego race at Miami.
That's right, because he DNF'd.
He did.
Dang.
On the first lap.
What a way to go out.
I know. You know what? To be fair, it looked like he was having fun.
Yeah, if you're going to go out, you might as well be having a blast while you do it.
Yeah.
But
still,
poor guy.
I want to see. I feel so bad for saying this, but I want to see that stat block come up on F1 TV somewhere.
Some weird graphics department has a like the F1 Kids channel.
Yes.
It has started having just Jack show up as like a mascot in a Lego car.
I love it.
It would be awesome. Okay, and then rounding out the news, big congratulations to Robert Schwartzman, Ferrari Driver Academy alumni, on taking pole position at the Indy 500 for Prema's debut season. What an accomplishment.
Insane. I forget the exact year, but this is the first time in over 40 years that a rookie has taken pole at the Indy 500.
Yep.
Which is just crazy.
Yeah, just a nuts stat there. No, we've known he's destined for great things. Being Ferrari's sim driver, he's been racing in WEC and just doing a brilliant job there. Like the dude has a bright racing future ahead of him. I hope Ferrari F1 gives him a look somewhere down the road. Maybe
when Lewis retires.
Maybe when Lewis ages out of this whole thing, which, I mean, if Alonso's still racing, who knows when that will be. But you never know. But no, I think Schwartzman is one of those names that everybody's going to be going, we forgot about you.
Sorry.
You were doing other things. I was unfamiliar with your game, sir. But no, congrats to him. Obviously, the Indy 500 is racing this weekend, the same weekend as Monaco.
Yep.
It makes up 2/3. That's one of the thirds of the Triple Crown Motorsport, trying to win Indy, Monaco, and Le Mans.
24-hour Le Mans.
Yeah, so quite the accomplishment if you can enter into all three, much less try to win them.
Right.
So.
Yeah. The Francesco Vergolini memes are flying everywhere for Prema right now.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Prema's the hot team to be with these days, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's like guaranteed seat somewhere. But with that, anything else for the dispatch?
No, sir.
All right, let's play catch up, shall we? And start playing backwards all the way back to ye olde Miami, which was quite the interesting race. We're not getting to.
We won't dive into the sprint. I mean, honestly, it was pretty. I say it was cut and dry. It was not dry.
It was not dry. It was very wet.
For Leclerc. Correct on the formation lap. But outside of that, there was like a couple of battles between Ocon and Sainz, and then they switched to slicks near the end of the race. But outside of that, the most dramatic thing was lap 1 where Antonelli fell 5 positions.
Yeah, poor guy taking pole position for the first time ever, and then just getting chucked down the order real quick.
Yeah. I will say I want to give props to Toto Wolff for being the dad in this scenario.
Yeah.
Just getting on the radio to say, hey, Kimmy, it's not even a full race.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up over this.
Yep.
Just buckle down, get ready for the next one.
Yep. It's his first season. The rookies are going to have rookie moments. So
he's a rookie that has gotten pole position.
Yeah.
That's nothing to sneeze at.
No, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
For me, I think one of the bigger things coming out of that sprint was Max's unsafe release into Antonelli in the pits, forcing him to do a drive-through and getting him a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, I personally pinned that on the pit crew.
Oh, I absolutely pinned that on the pit crew. Max totally not at fault, but totally damaged some wings. It was quite the cause of damage there. And then Carlos hitting a wall and causing a puncture and some major damage to the Williams, causing him to retire in the sprint. Yeah, that was crazy. Lawson hitting Alonso at the end there and causing the whole race to end under safety car conditions. Hadn't had that in a hot second. But yeah, that sprint was a swamp. Is what it was. That was a swamp race.
It was. Yeah. The race itself
was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Verstappen took pole position, which was a really cool qualifying.
It was a fun qualifying.
That one came down to 1,000, like 7 thousandths, wasn't it, or something like that?
Something like that.
It was stupid close. Like the top 3 were definitely less than a tenth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was very, very close. Yeah. We are checking.
Yeah, it was insane. A lot of action on that first couple of laps. Doohan had a puncture, which caused him some damage, causing him to retire on lap 2, and we had a virtual safety car into lap 4.
It was 600ths between Verstappen and Norris in Q3.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was tighter than that. Maybe that was for sprint qualifying. Maybe sprint qualifying was tighter.
No. Sprint had a whole tenth between Antonelli and Oscar. So
yeah. That's been a minute slip since then.
Yeah, for real.
No, but no, qualifying was great for that. The McLaren race pace in Miami was just boggling fast.
Yes, it makes you wonder because we'll talk about what upgrades we saw at Imola. But it makes you wonder if McLaren just put on upgrades first.
They might have.
More or less.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of talk about what McLaren is doing with their tires.
Yes. Their rears are able to hold out for just freaking forever.
Yeah, and a Red Bull noticed this. And, I mean, anybody can jump on Red Bull for making these sort of... It's not even an accusation, really. It's just a statement.
Yeah.
Any team can do it, though.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that McLaren was doing this to Red Bull a lot.
Yeah.
when
it cuts both ways.
They were dominating. It goes both ways. Yeah.
Yep.
You can't vilify one or the other. It's just competition.
Yep.
That they were like, are they putting water in the tires? Or like, what's going on here? And the consensus amongst the more technically minded people is that they're using materials that are extremely heat absorbent.
Materials that are extremely heat absorbent. And then during Imola, Sam Collins, the F1 technical analyst, showed some interesting photos of some, I don't know if this is the term he used, but I'm going to borrow some aerospace terms here. It's basically a bypass duct that goes through the side pods that is funneling more air than usual out a side vent towards the brake ducts. and is just keeping those brakes in the backside of those tires so much cooler.
Right.
Like it's a ingenious design. It's something that you would see kind of on like a almost like an aircraft engine. Aircraft engines have bypass ducts like that. When he showed it, I was like, oh, I've seen something kind of similar in a jet engine before. And so it was like that's really clever how they came up with that and adapted something like that for brake and tire cooling.
Yeah.
That combined with the materials, I think, is what's
PCM, phase change material. Basically, it's a material that just sucks in heat and keeps it there.
that's insane.
So, yeah, just extremely innovative stuff. And as far as we know from everything that we've seen and everything that has been analyzed, it's all within the rule book. It all fits.
Yep.
So we're going to see a lot of that. A lot of other teams being like, the SpongeBob meme. Write that down, write that down.
Y'all got any more of those PCMs? No, it was insane watching their race pace. Their tire deg was just so low. It was insane. Yeah, as the Miami race continued, just stuff kept unfolding. Albon defying team orders and overtaking signs. Didn't think we'd ever hear about Williams fighting each other, but here we are.
I love it, though.
Hamilton and Ocon battling it out for P10. Poor Ollie Behrman on lap 29. He had a power unit failure, had to park it, retire. It was really sad. Yuki got another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's like his third this year, I think.
At least that's all he's getting compared to all the penalties and crashes that Perez was doing last season.
That's true. The car hasn't been destroyed as many times.
Not
yet.
as many, yeah. And it's been more believable crashes. It's not like, oh, Checo again.
Yeah. For Miami, Bortoletto retired due to a power unit failure on lap 33. Lawson retired shortly thereafter on lap 38 with floor and side pod damage. We got to witness Hamilton and Leclerc trading bouts of who's on first or who's on fifth or whatever it ended up being.
Radio messages from Ferrari were pure poetry.
It's just poetry. You want to make him a cup of tea while he's there?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Signs behind Shaw let him pass as well.
Yeah, the radio commentary out of Miami, absolute comedy gold on the Ferrari pit wall. Do recommend going back and watching the radio recap for that one. Worth your time.
It was wonderful. Yeah.
But no, that one finished out with Piastri in P1, Norris P2, and a Russell P3. It was a fantastic race to watch. Very exciting. There was some penalties dished out after the fact. Red Bull was protesting that Russell didn't slow down during a virtual safety car that was brought out by Behrman's power issue failure. And they got real vocal about that. They lodged like a serious protest on that one after the race.
Especially since they caught him doing that before.
Yes. And apparently telemetry and everything and multiple cameras showed that Russell was fine. He led off. It was perfectly normal. Stewards dismissed that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Sainz and Gasly got sporting code infringements for not slowing under yellows as well. They got slapped with what Red Bull wanted to slap Russell with, but it seems like Red Bull doesn't care about people further down the pecking order.
I mean, why would they?
Funny how that works. And then, Yuki got his 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. 85.6 kilometers per hour when the limit is 80. Tisk, tisk, Yuki.
Gotta slow down, Speedy Sonoda.
They're going to have to hire some, mean crossing guard to just start sitting there and just waving a finger at them. But, Miami was a great race. It was fun watching the sprint in the rain. Rain did threaten the race itself, but it managed to hold off, so it was a dry race, which was good. Definitely one of the more entertaining ones of the season, in my opinion. Definitely enjoyable.
For sure, yeah.
And then after that, we roll into this previous weekend with a long name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce for the official name of the race, but it is colloquially known as Imola. So, standard race format this past weekend, no sprint, so just the standard 3 practices, a quali, and a Grand Prix on a Sunday. Our first debut look at the new Pirelli C6 tire, the Super Soft.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
Kind of disappointed, honestly.
Yeah.
It just degraded super quick. I know that's what we were expecting, but it really degraded fast.
It really degraded fast and didn't provide any noticeable benefit.
Not really.
Because, let's talk about this. Aston Martin chose to switch from that C6 to a C5, the medium tire, And it got both Lance and Fernando into Q3 for the first time.
At the cost of both Ferrari.
At the cost of both Ferraris, who ran that C6.
Yep. Because here's the thing: the C5 was the soft
Last
for
year,
last year's
yeah.
Imola. Yeah,
But they have all that tire data.
Exactly. Like, why take the gamble at that point?
Yeah.
You've run tests through practice. You see that, in qualifying, the results aren't really that much better. Might as well go with old reliable.
Yeah. No,
Makes perfect sense.
I totally agree. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I understand how it works. And I think it was Julian Palmer even made a comment that they were kind of surprised that they debuted it here at Imola. But apparently that tire is designed for street circuits. It's not designed for a standard circuit. So they're hoping teams will want to use it in Monaco this weekend. And the idea was this will allow them a weekend in advance to start gathering tire data.
Interesting. I feel like that would have been better suited for Miami.
I would have agreed with that, or literally anywhere else. But
I don't know.
Yeah, kind of a weird choice to go debuting it at Imola. But regardless, it didn't seem like it held up that good. No, none of the drivers really seemed to like it all that much.
Yeah, I wonder. You got to wonder why fewer teams didn't try the medium in quali, and it probably has to do with their allotment. They wanted to save those for the race, which I totally get.
Well, and if you know you're one of those top teams that has the 1 lap pace, like you just know you're going to be in the top standings, like your Red Bulls, your McLarens, your Ferraris, your Mercedes. You're willing to run the gamble on a more fragile tire because you know you can get it done in 1 lap. It's going to be your Haas, your Williams, your Saubers that are going to be like, we're going to go with that medium, or the Aston Martins in this case.
Yeah.
That, poor old Lance, he might not be able to do it in 1 run. It might take him 2 or 3. Let's put him on the medium so it'll hold up long enough to go do that.
Yeah.
Because you got to also remember, you got to do your in lap, your out lap, your cool down laps, all that kind of stuff on that fragile tire. And while it's not putting all that much strain on that tire, it's still wear and tear on a super soft tire.
Yeah, and because it's so fragile, it means it's hard to keep it in all of the windows.
Yes.
Temperature-wise, because you don't want to destroy it.
Yes.
Which I think Max said that, that was kind of my downfall, keeping me from getting pole.
Interesting. It's an interesting way of looking at that.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how much of qualifying was kind of upset because of that tire. I think it took a bigger role than I think a lot of people expected it to.
Yeah, one could only speculate.
Going into qualifying, huge crashes for Yuki and Franco. Tsunoda going into turn 5 or 6?
I think it's 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah. Just lost it and back end spun out, and he took out across the gravel, flipped the car completely over.
Yeah.
And once again, the halo saved a life this weekend.
It really did, yeah.
For a track that has seen as much sadness as Imola, it would be a shame to lose another driver there. And so the halo definitely did its job and saved Yuki's life as the cockpit of that car went. He had to be doing, what, 150?
Something like that.
At least 100, at least 130, probably 150 into a wall upside down. And, his halo on that car came in clutch. He was able to get out and walk away from it, but it required pretty much an entire rebuild of that car.
Gotta give a shout out to the Red Bull mechanics for putting that thing back together.
Yep, but it did necessitate Tsunoda taking a pit lane start for the Grand Prix.
Yes.
Colapinto also spun out and crashed really big into the turn right before that one, so that would have been 3 and 4. The end of the last part of Tamburello, I think it was.
2 and 3, I think.
Yeah, 2 and 3. Just took out across the gravel on the other side and put it into a wall and totally just totaled the front end of the thing.
Yeah, same wall that Senna ran into, I believe.
I believe so, yes. Very, very notorious corner, a lot of high speed, a lot of adverse conditions going into that corner. So
goes to show that the advancements in safety are worth it.
They are worth it. For whatever it takes out in your top speed because of the weight and all that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, these are still human lives on the line, and it's important that they do what they can to protect them. It takes a little bit more than a helmet these days when you're going that fast.
Agreed.
But no, Oscar Piastri took pole position for the race. Quali was exciting, other than the crashes. It was a pretty tight field, but Oscar managed to pump in that fastest lap and took the front row with Max right behind him.
Yeah.
And you want to cover lap 1, turn 1?
Yeah, we'll do it.
I was scared as a Max fan watching this start because you could tell Max was slow off the line.
I think he was like, if I remember right, more or less, Oscar's reaction time was like 0.26 seconds, and Max's is in the 0.3s for getting on the gas after the lights out. So yeah, he was slow. George was in P3 right on Oscar's gearbox. But Oscar never really makes a move to the outside. He's watching Russell the entire time.
Yeah.
And Max just saw this, and Oscar also admitted after the race that he braked a little too early going into 1. Maybe taking care of his tires, I don't know. But Max, just yells YOLO. just shouts World Star. Dives, goes around the outside in the most beautiful overtake I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
If that does not get overtake of the month, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, no, it certainly deserved it. I can't imagine what combo of gearing and ERS deployment and everything else he had to do to get that car up to speed that fast to go catch him, because we know that McLaren is fast and that Red Bull had to be faster, and he did it.
Yeah, and that's my thing, because we know that Red Bull brought some sort of upgrade to this, right? Yeah, so it clearly works, because that one move won Max the whole race.
Yep.
They couldn't catch him after that.
Nope. And it was so far ahead. Like, he was so far ahead, and we'll get into the reasons why, but there was a safety car. It ended up being a full safety car.
Yeah.
Max was so far ahead, he lost no time by pitting under the safety car. I mean, obviously pitting under a safety car saves you 10 seconds anyway at Imola, but it's like it didn't cost him any extra time because he was so far ahead.
Yeah. And on the flip side, Yuki takes his Red Bull from a pit lane start from P20 to 10th.
Yeah.
That car is doing work. The McLaren is as well.
Yep.
Oscar was screwed over by McLaren strategy.
Yep.
I forget what position he fell to. I think he almost fell out of the points.
Yeah.
After their little pit stop debacle. But he worked his way all the way back up to a podium.
Yeah. That was real impressive from those guys.
Yeah.
No, I think that Red Bull is finally starting to wake up consistently. Whatever upgrade package they brought is going to be really, really good. Obviously, this next weekend is Monaco, so I don't think we're going to see anybody do anything particularly special at Monaco, because Monaco is Monaco. But the race right after, at the end of May, first weekend of June, is Barcelona. And that is the track.
It is the track.
That's the track where your upgrades come through in spades if you get it right.
Yep.
And you get all of the benefit of all of the speed, all of the downforce, everything you want comes alive at Barcelona. So I think, this next weekend's going to be a little bit awash, but then we're going to roll into Spain and we're going to see, okay, all these upgrades that you brought out to Imola and tested at Imola, how good are they really?
Right.
So I'm very curious to see, after they analyze some data, get that car tuned in exactly where they want it, who comes out on top at Barcelona. It's going to be an interesting one.
Definitely. Yeah.
But no, that dive bomb was pretty fantastic. Had 2 retirements during the race: Esteban Ocon and Kimi Antonelli.
Same spot.
Same spot.
Yeah.
Had to retire due to power unit issues. Poor Antonelli. You have to DNF at his home race.
Dude,
Poor kid.
I will say he's how do the kids say it? He's got a lot of riz at his high school right now. All the girls love him. You can tell.
Yeah, boy.
It doesn't seem like that's getting to him, though.
No, he seems pretty level-headed.
I like that about him.
Yeah.
I also respect that he is the only man to get Italians to wear Mercedes merchandise.
Ferrari might have a word about that before this is all said and done.
Well, that's a bargaining chip for him. He's like, okay, I'll replace Lewis then. Give me a seat.
Can you imagine being the youngest Ferrari driver in history?
Well,
how old was Charles when he signed with Ferrari?
I don't know, because he started with Alfa Romeo first.
Right, but he was in the driver academy. But yeah, his first F1 seat was with Alfa.
To Google, we are checking.
He wasn't anywhere near as young as Max, but yeah, he was definitely
Yeah, let's see.
Definitely younger.
Man, he's only 27? That's crazy.
Leclerc?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that old.
I know he's not that old. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old.
We are getting old.
Yep. Let's see.
It's weird because I think of like Checo. I've always considered Checo as like, oh man, Checo's old. Like he's up there, but it's like Checo's the same age as me. Mine and Checo's birthdays are just a couple months apart. And I'm
Really?
like, yeah. I'm just like, I'm old.
Yeah. So let's see. He was born in 97. He signed with, let's see. He joined Ferrari Academy in 2016. Okay, he signed with Sauber in 2018, which would have made him, what, 21?
Yeah, so he was 21 when
Yeah.
he started.
So let's see. He signed Ferrari the very next year. So yeah, he was 22.
Wow. So yeah, Kimmy's got a couple years to try to secure that youngest Ferrari driver ever spot.
Kind of curious just to see who was the youngest Ferrari driver ever. Youngest Ferrari F1 driver. I forgot about this. It's Ollie Behrman.
Oh, when he covered for
Yeah.
signs after his appendix.
It's technically Ollie Behrman.
Dang, forgot about that.
Suck it, Kimmy.
You know he's going to lord that over like all Ferrari
absolutely.
drivers forever.
Dang it, I just saw Ollie's face on Google. I'm like, ah,
That's the
shoot, I
one.
should have known that.
Yep, he took the red. He suited up for sure.
He did, yeah.
But no, that Antonelli's power unit failure at Imola brought out a. Well, let me back up. Ocon's failure was a virtual safety car.
Yes.
Because of where he parked it up, the marshals were able to just tow it off track real easily. However, Antonelli, who put it in kind of the same spot, he put it too far forward that they had to bring up the crane to go haul it back.
Yep.
That brought out a full safety car, which changed the whole dynamic of this race. It was a super lucky pit stop for Red Bull and McLaren. They were able to get perfect track position to get in there, get fresher tires, and immediately get back out there and not lose any time, any position. It was great.
Yep.
However, if you're part of the Scuderia in red, the hometown heroes, the racing gods frowned upon them that day.
I will say their race pace was pretty good compared to their qualifying pace.
This is true.
But everything else, yeah, it was a bad day to be a Tifosi.
If it could go wrong, it went wrong. And yeah, they just could not get anything going. Ended up battling each other there for a hot second. I thought for sure they were going to wreck each other.
Yeah.
And then for a second there, they started fighting Albon, which was ridiculous. Which can we talk about Alex Albon taking top 5?
Dude, let's go.
Yeah, that Williams showed
I
up.
believe in the Williams.
I do too. It was great. Sainz had a great qualifying. He had a great race too. Like, this is some of the highest point scoring Williams has had in like over a decade.
I genuinely think that if that incident between Leclerc and Albon did not happen, that Albon could have had a shot at a podium.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree.
If a couple of things just went a little bit differently, we could have seen a Williams on the podium.
So well, I'll save it for later when we get to predictions. But I'm going to say it right now.
All right.
I think that Williams has the potential to qualify well enough that Albon or Sainz could take pole position at Monaco. And if that happens, I predict we'll have a first Williams podium at Monaco.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting take because
I think if anybody could do it, Sainz could do it.
I would believe the Sainz could do it. I just don't think, even with like Monaco spec wings and such, the Williams is a straight line speed car.
And Monaco isn't that sort of track. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would love to see it. I don't know. Call me more of a pessimist when it comes to tracks like Monaco.
I do not want to see the Monaco or the British Grand Prix results in 1950. Thank you. Come on, F1. Work with me here.
Scrolling through F1.com, are we?
Yeah. What was the qualifying result for 2024? Carlos took P3 in qualifying.
Yep.
0.3 behind Charles, who obviously took it and won it.
Right.
So my money is that, all things being equal, if that Williams has that sort of pace to be doing what it's doing, yeah, granted, it's not maybe necessarily a Monaco spec car, but Monaco is so unique that there's so much going on there. Literally anything can happen. The odds of a DNF happening are just so much higher during Monaco than anywhere else, obviously. That I think of all the non top teams, of the mid pack, Williams has a higher than average chance of putting a car in the podium for qualifying, in the top three. But I think if they did it, they could hold it and take a podium for Monaco.
Okay.
That's my hot take.
Alrighty. I'm not saying I disagree. I don't know. I'm just a little more hesitant. But it could very well happen.
Yeah, we've seen strange upsets.
Sure, yeah.
So
I would agree with you that if they can do it, they would definitely be able to hold it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think after watching Albon's defense, I think if he can get up there, he can hold it. He knows how to.
Oh yeah, that's easy to do in Monaco.
Yeah,
just get as wide as you can get.
Yep,
yeah.
he knows how to keep his elbows out, and that's the track to do it. So
Sure.
Anything else for Imola?
Nah, honestly, yeah. I would say personally, Imola has been the most entertaining race. It was very much a callback to 2023 in the sense that we never saw the leader,
Right.
more or less. They just never cut to him. But so much good overtakes, great passing, great racing across the entire field, across the whole race. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Yep, it was definitely a fun one. There was hardly a dull moment in that race,
No, not at all.
for being honest. But yeah, we go directly from there to the sunny shores of Monaco on the southern French Riviera, at the aptly named Circuit de Monaco, which, if you're new to Formula One or have yet to watch a Monaco Grand Prix, it is 1/3 of the what was the word? My brain just decided to just go completely blank. 1/3 of the Triple Crown of motorsport.
Yes,
That's what I'm trying to
Triple
say.
Crown, yeah.
Which is the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indy 500, and the 24 hour of Le Mans.
Yeah.
Very few have competed in all three. Even fewer have won all three. In fact, I think there's only one in there.
One or two?
Yeah, definitely a very exclusive club. But yeah, obviously the Monaco Grand Prix and the Indy 500 are both racing this weekend, so plenty of motorsport for all the enthusiasts.
Yeah, the Triple Crown of motorsport. Graham Hill is the only one.
That's right, Mr. Monaco, I think they call him.
Mr. Monaco.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Circuit de Monaco. Obviously, they shut down the streets of Monte Carlo around the casino there in the Principality of Monaco, turning it into a street circuit. And it is narrow, it is fast, it is deadly.
And it does not fit these modern cars.
It does not fit
at
these
all.
modern. It was funny. I watched Formula E race through Monaco.
It looks great for Formula E.
Those cars are so tiny.
Yeah, they're go-karts.
It's go-karts. It's
They're
hilarious.
go-karts with a body kit.
It's like, look at how much room they've got.
Yeah. I want to see. Have you ever heard of supercarts?
Yes.
I want to see those.
That would be amazing.
Supercarts are basically gas-powered go-karts with downforce body kits.
That's the dream right there.
Yeah, I want to see those on Monaco.
But no, Monaco is a 3.337 kilometer track. That's 2.067 miles in freedom units.
That's a short one.
Yep. It's a long race, though, 78 laps.
Yeah.
It's also one of the oldest races. We've been racing in the Principality since 1950.
That's crazy.
So this will be the 75th anniversary, the 75th running of the Monaco Grand Prix, I believe. Lap record's a minute 12:909, set by Lewis Hamilton in Mercedes.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag Team LH. Couple of things going into this one. We got some new suits for a couple of teams.
Yeah.
Ferrari adopted the "if you can't beat them, join them" thing, and has copied Williams' color scheme.
The suit printer ran out of ink. Yeah. The HP suit printer.
There's a Team LHP joke in there somewhere.
Oh no, I hate it so much.
Anyway,
I will admit they look clean.
they do look clean. It's a sharp look. I'll
Yeah,
admit.
it's almost the Miami just without the blue shoulders.
Yes.
Which I mean, I'm okay with that. Just if you could, whoever is designing the suits, make them design the car, please.
Yes, please.
Like seriously,
just look
what
so
are
much
y'all
better.
doing to the car?
Yeah.
It's a Frankenstein abomination.
Yes. And the people hate it. The Tifosi hate it. So stop it.
Everybody hates it. Stop it. Get some help.
Yep. McLaren's got a new livery for this weekend. That's all I've seen so far. Usually another team pulls out of something kind of last minute, but
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
Not a whole lot. Yeah.
If they are, they're keeping it under wraps, literally.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens
I
there.
will say Red Bull, their 400th Grand Prix was at Imola, and they had like the white outlines on their numbers.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Can we keep that, please?
Yeah.
That looks a lot better.
Look classy, yeah.
It did. Yeah.
Yep, so it'll be interesting to see. Shout out, friend of the show, Andrew Weaver, is in the Principality this weekend.
Yes, he is.
He will be attending qualifying, I believe.
Lucky.
Like I saw pictures, his seats are right there by the what am I trying to say? The harbor.
Yeah, you can see the yachts across.
You can see the
road.
yachts from
It's
where he's
crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts. I am so jealous.
Yep.
So hopefully, I'm hoping to maybe interview him in the weeks to come when he gets back in stateside, because he's on a whirlwind 3-week tour of Europe, him and his wife. So when he gets back, I'd love to sit down with him and talk to him about what his experience was like, and maybe get some firsthand account and feedback of all things Monaco. So we'll hopefully bring that to you here in the near future. Going into this one, new rule change. It is a mandatory 2 pit stop rule.
Yes. Only one compound change.
Yes.
But 2 stops.
2 stops. That I don't know how I'm going to like that. Like, it gives a lot of opportunity for the order to shuffle, because as we know, passing in Monaco is very, very hard.
It is.
So it makes your pit strategy, hashtag shout out there.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. It makes the pit strategy super critical now.
It does.
It was always important in Monaco, but it's even more so now.
Yeah, you're going to be paying a lot more attention to tire drag during practice, figuring out, where is the drop off, where's the fall off, how can we work this into, are we going to do an even split for like 1/3 across the Grand Prix, or are we going to, go with softs at the beginning of the race and then switch to something else later on? Because you don't have to go back to the same compound if you don't want to.
Sure.
I would be surprised if no car started on a soft at this Grand Prix for that reason.
That's a very fair thing. I'm going to look. Do we have the
compounds yet?
I was going to say, I'm going to look and see if the Pirelli preview is up, and we can...
That's a good question.
Let's see.
On top of all this, we have the unknown gambling aspect of what happens if a pit crew screws up in one of these pit stops. The margin for error at these pit crews and these pit stops just doubled at this race. And with how tight Monaco is, that's extremely crucial.
Yes, it is.
So there's a part of me that is excited for that side of it, the unpredictability of it, the change up for strategy. But on the flip side, it's just going to make the race longer.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
And Monaco is boring enough as it is.
We're downloading the Pirelli preview here for the
we
Monaco.
got it. All right.
So they are running the C4, the C5, and the C6, the same tire compounds we ran this past weekend in Imola, which we believed to be true, but you never, based on how that C6 performed, we weren't sure if Pirelli was going to stick to their guns on this one, but it appears that they are. So yeah, your soft tire compound is the C6, medium is the C5, and the hard is the C4 going into this weekend.
Interesting.
Doesn't look like there's any major changes other than those standard things. Let's zoom in here. Zoop, zoop, zoop. No other real notes. Basically, it's the same as what they allow for pretty much every weekend. Pressures seem to be about the same. Camber's about the same as usual. So yeah, nothing special going into this one.
Interesting. Q3, they have to have the C6 on there.
Interesting.
Huh. I wonder if someone was taking notes from Imola. It's like, nope, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, all that to say that the C6 drama, like you said, it's do you gamble running that C6 at the start. If you know
If it's the C6, I don't know if that's reliable enough.
I don't know either. And that's the other thing. We haven't had a long enough running with it under like heavy racing conditions to know.
So we're going to see a lot of softs at practice.
Yes. They're going to churn through those suckers
Yeah,
fast.
but yeah, I still would be shocked if we didn't see any softs on the grid for lights out. I can imagine one or two teams thinking, okay, we'll go 10 laps on the C6 and then change to hards.
Yeah.
And then go for mediums to get us to the end of the race.
Yep. No,
Something like that.
Yep. No, it's definitely a possibility. And then to throw another monkey wrench into the whole shenanigan. Let me pull it up here. Monaco. It has increased. There is a chance of rain on Saturday.
Oh, geez.
It was a 20% earlier in the week. It's been upgraded to a 35% chance.
That's the bay for you.
Yep. So qualifying can happen in the rain. And then you end up turning into a race on a Sunday in the dry. And yeah, with Monaco, anything is possible. We generally also have a high likelihood of safety cars, which also jumbles up your order.
Yep.
And it changes your pit strategy. And so it's this whole thing. Monaco is this blender of what ifs. And I don't think anybody can properly plan for everything. You cover your bases as good as you can and hope you don't crash into a casino.
I mean, hey, no plan survives first contact, so just make as many contingency plans as you can.
Yeah, the benefit is most of the drivers get to sleep in their own beds at Monaco. Most of them live there, so it's no hotels. They're all properly rested and relaxed. And
I think Pierre Gasly has the biggest disadvantage.
Yeah, usually
Being a Frenchman,
Being a Frenchman, yeah. I guess Hajar does too, being also French.
Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting he's French.
He doesn't sound very French, but he
doesn't
is.
look very French. He doesn't sound very French.
Yeah, but he's definitely a Frenchman.
French, yeah.
From Paris, so. All right, so going into Monaco, who's your favorite here, and who do you think's most at risk?
After everything that we have seen this past week and everything that we have talked about from the forecast, my favorite is probably going to be Max.
Yeah?
Between the way this new Red Bull is looking right now, Max being Max, and I will say the Red Bull at Imola from FP1 to FP2 did not look great, but that's one thing that Red Bull has gotten really good at is adapting the car.
Yeah.
And they did that perfectly for Imola. I can see them doing that again for Monaco.
Yeah.
And plus, if there is wet, if it's a wet quali, who's the king of the wet?
Max Verstappen.
It's Max.
Yep.
So all of that in mind, if you get pole here, it's very hard to lose.
Yes.
Just don't wreck.
Yeah.
Don't wreck. Don't have bad pit stops. And yeah, just stay elbows out, stay wide. So yeah, all of that in mind, I'm going to pick my boy Max.
Okay. I think it's a good choice for a favorite. I think for me, I already gave my hope and dreams that Williams will pull something off, but I think realistically speaking, I think it's going to be the classic Red Bull versus McLaren showdown.
I can see that.
And I think it's going to be Oscar versus Max. Again, it's going to come down to qualifying because passing at Monaco is so dang hard. It's going to be who gets on that front row, and I think it's going to be Max and Oscar. And we're going to have I predict a reverse situation from Imola. If Max takes pole, you're going to see Oscar try to outrun him to turn one.
Here's the problem. That turn one is not the same as Imola.
No, it is a lot less forgiving.
It is way
that's a
less
solid
forgiving.
wall there if you don't make it.
Right. Yeah. And I think Max knows this
Yes.
and would be, especially, he's had his own fair share of incidents at that turn
Oh,
one.
I think every F1 driver has a bad turn one Monaco story.
Yeah. But Max being in the game longer, I think he has more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Oscar's going to, go YOLO on this, but I think Max would just exercise a little more control.
Yeah.
Just a little more.
Oscar's not much of a YOLO person.
He's not. No. He's not a man of extremes, which makes me feel like he's going to be steady, but a little too much.
That's fair.
It needs to be a 5, and he'll keep it a consistent 6 going into turn 1.
Yeah. And look for opportunity down the road. And that's the thing. Like, if you can survive the first, let's say, like 2 or 3 laps around Monaco,
Yeah.
your likelihood of making it to the end increases dramatically.
Sure.
Once the field spreads out a little bit. So, yeah, you don't have to hang everything on lap 1, turn 1 at Monaco just because it's your best passing opportunity.
Right. Agreed.
Talk to Checo and both Haas boys from last year about
Yep.
turn 1 shenanigans, and Kevin Magnussen probably have some choice words for you if you talk to him about it.
Yeah. Poor dude.
So who do you think's most at risk going into Monaco?
It's. I'm gonna say Leclerc,
Yeah,
just because home race, previous winner, and I'm sorry, I know how much I love Ferrari, but that Ferrari's not looking good right now.
no, it's not.
So
I'm gonna say the exact same thing.
really,
Like, we have enough problems with one mandatory pit stop as a Ferrari team. You're gonna make us do it twice.
you want to see me do it again?
That second pit stop, Leclerc's gonna be over there looking for that. When's the next flight back to Maranello? Because I'm just gonna go total this car. Yeah, it's one of those things that there's a part of me that has to wonder how much better Carlos Sainz sleeps at night knowing he doesn't have to listen to the Ferrari pit wall anymore. For all the problems Williams has, and I'm sure there are many, they're not the same problems that Ferrari has.
No, they're much more manageable.
They're much more manageable, and they're much more helpful from a driver standpoint. Like, you can, as a driver, you can do more. And
Yes.
so, yeah.
You don't feel as helpless.
Yes. You don't have to feel the need to go see a therapist after every race to, deal with the...
There's an edit that someone made of the Leclerc video of him diving into the pool from last year. Mm-hmm. Someone took that, but it's him diving off a building.
Oh, gosh.
It looks too good.
It's dark. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Ferrari is going to be the biggest one. They have got to get this strategy right.
They do, yeah.
And another thing, I think all teams, especially the top ones, I don't know if you noticed, the pit stops in Imola were not the fastest across the board.
Most of them were not.
Even the top teams, your Red Bulls, McLarens, they were over 2.5, 3. So there was a couple 3.2 second stops.
I think Red Bull had a 2 flat, if I remember.
They had
right.
one, but not all of them were that fast. And so I think I'm not gonna say the pit crews are getting lazy, but I think the pit crews were just under a lot of pressure and that kind of stuff. And Monaco is very high pressure for the pit crews because the pit lane is so small. The cars have to angle weird to all fit in there. And so if there's a safety car and everybody's trying to pit at the same time, it can be crazy. And I think a pit crew that is not on top of their game going in this weekend is going to be huge and crucial and can upset somebody's race. And I'm looking at you, Ferrari, because if there's anybody that's going to fumble it, it's going to be the boys in red. So
unfortunately.
So,
yeah.
All right, I know it's Monaco. There's not a whole lot of, room to roll the dice or, take big risks or, big leaps forward. But who do you think kind of needs to, take a big leap forward and try to stake their claim out there?
I'm going to say Yuki Tsunoda. He looked very well going from P20 to P10 at Imola. So he just needs to show up for quali.
Yeah.
Just make Red Bull look good. Maybe go for a podium, but at least high points, Keep Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship and just, show that this qualifying accident wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good one. I'm going to go with George. He's been very consistent all season, but I think this is going to be one of the ones where his consistency is going to potentially pay off in spades.
Sure.
Because if you are super consistent around Monaco, as long as you qualify well, you can hold it well. Consistency is key here, and I think if there's anybody who can qualify in one of those top 5 positions and then just sit there the whole race and maybe even gain a spot if the strategy goes well, we know Mercedes has good pit strategy, and George is the king of making his tires go the distance. Mm-hmm. I think it could be George that is a bit of a surprise. I don't want to say underdog because he's definitely not that, but kind of coming out of left field where you didn't expect George to maybe take a podium or even a win, it could happen.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's hear your top 5 predictions.
All right, top 5. I'm going to go Max Verstappen P1, Oscar P2. I'm going to pick George for 3rd.
Okay.
That's your podium. I'm going to go Lando with 4th, and I'm going to go Carlos Sainz P5.
Okay, that's a respectable podium. I'm going to go an Oscar P1, and I'm gonna go George P2. Honestly, I think he can pull it off. I really think he can. A Max P3, Charles P4.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say Carlos P5.
All right.
I'll be right there with you with that. But I think we're going to see probably from the top 5 teams, we're going to see one of each up in there.
Probably, yeah.
I'm basing that more off of teams than necessarily the drivers, honestly. But I think each of the top 5 is going to have somebody representing in those top 5 spots.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is Monaco, so it's very possible that we could have bad luck for one half of each of these teams.
Yes. Yeah, especially if quality's in the rain, I could see us, a couple of these cars getting pretty well banged up and having to get repaired before Sunday. So time will tell. And who you got for P10?
P10, I am going to pick Fernando Alonso.
For P10?
P10, he's looking better. He's starting to wake up a little bit. Their quality was pretty decent, especially with their tire strategy. And where did he finish? 11th?
Last year.
Last year? Okay. I want to see, where did he finish again at Imola?
So for reference, at Monaco last year, P10 was Pierre Gasly.
He finished in 11th. So, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, this is, the oldest driver on the grid. He's got a ton of experience in Monaco.
Yeah.
Got to know it like the back of his hand at this point.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a good contender for it. I also think Isaac Hadjar is another good contender.
Yeah, you could pick either of those Red Bulls or V carbs right now.
Yeah, it could go either way with them. Because I don't see Liam dragging that V carb up all the way into there.
Probably not. But yeah, if one of those two could do it, I'm picking Hadjar as well.
Yeah, Hadjar's definitely the better of the two at the moment. So that's going to be my best guess. So we'll see. We will see what happens. It's going to be an exciting one. Like we said, quality is the big one. Makes all the difference there at Monaco. Okay, anything else from Monaco?
Nope, I think we got it pretty well covered.
I think we do as well. And with that, we'll roll into the traffic report. I don't really have much other than we've got F125 coming out this next week.
We do.
Which we will probably...
The copy paste, if you will, from last year's game.
Yeah, we'll probably jump into that a little bit.
Yeah, give it a taste.
Yeah.
Maybe do some streaming. We'll see.
We'll see. Time permitting, and EA servers being what they are. We'll see. It might be another month before that game is stable enough to be streamed, but we'll get there eventually. maybe in time for Abu Dhabi. We'll hope.
Hopefully by Abu Dhabi. Yeah.
Other than that, I heard they're doing screenings of the new F1 movie at Monaco this weekend for the teams. So the teams get to see it for the first time.
Lucky.
So we're about a month out from getting that in theaters, so I'm super excited. But I think that's about it for the traffic report. I don't really have anything. Do you?
Nope. No.
All right. And with that, we are in semi-sunny Monaco, I guess with a chance of rain. But, it's exclusive. I mean, you got casinos that have dress codes. And
you got fancy yachts.
Yachts and supercars and, people, some restaurants and stuff won't let you in unless you're wearing a $250,000 watch on your wrist and that kind of stuff. But no matter the price of the watch on your wrist, there's just one exclusive venue you just can't go around asking for a ticket for. No Monaco concierge is going to be able to dole you out a ticket to the tinfoil hat party.
You don't need a watch. You need a kazoo.
You do need a kazoo. Preferably a gold-plated 24-karat kazoo.
Disclaimer, we do not have those.
Shh! Quit giving away our secrets, Matt. Anyway, not a whole lot of tinfoil hat shenanigans going on outside of the usual. The Race podcast, if you're familiar with that F1 news outlet, interviewed, I apologize, I'm going to butcher his name. It's one of those weird names that my brain cannot phonetically step through. Otmar S., former team principal of Alpine and Racing Point.
Safnauer?
That may be it. I don't want to risk it. and sounding like an absolute moron.
I mean, I already am, so I'll do it.
He basically came out and stated he has funding and an engine supplier to bring a 12th team to the F1 grid. Obviously, the 11th being Cadillac, and then soon to turn into Cadillac Andretti
Heck yeah.
down the road. So there's been a lot of speculation as to who is financing this. Obviously, for that sort of thing to work, you need, I mean, it costs Cadillac upwards of, between building their factory and the dilution fees and all that kind of stuff, it has cost Cadillac and Andretti almost $900 million to get that team on the grid for next year. So everybody's wondering, if it takes that kind of money to do, who does Otmar have in his pocket that's wanting to do this? I mean, for let's just call it $1 billion is basically what it takes. Who has a cool $1 billion to drop?
Oh God, please don't be an Amazon car. Anything.
The Bezos Brigade.
Oh God, the Bezos Mobile.
Gosh. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess your stupid rich guys are potentials. You could always say a Bezos, a Musk, a Bill Gates sort of thing. But I mean, they've had a lot of money for a long time. If they wanted to get into it, they could have done it already.
Sure, this is true.
There've been plenty of teams that have been kind of semi on the market, like Haas or Alpine. I guess that you could have bought.
Can we get a Mini Cooper team?
Ooh,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
This is like a micro version of the car. It's like half the size.
Yeah, I just don't think Mini has $1 billion to drop on an F1 team.
Maybe not.
So it's going to be one of those works type teams. I've heard rumor that apparently Lamborghini has entertained the thought of entering the grid, but I don't see it.
Weren't they on the grid before?
No.
No?
Porsche has been entertaining it for a hot minute too. But,
that'd be cool.
But Lambo's been the wild card that's been kind of considered for a minute. But again, I don't see Lambo dropping $1 billion on an F1 grid slot.
Lambo did have an F1 team.
Really?
They were, it was Medina. That was them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating.
It was not under Lamborghini name, but it was Lamborghini designs and engine and everything.
The things you learn.
Yep.
But yeah, so it's like
1991.
But yeah, so I mean, your list of potentials is kind of small. A lot of people have said Toyota. They've expressed interest separately of joining F1. So that makes me wonder if Otmar's been courting the Japanese automaker to be that 12th team, which
makes you wonder if they do that and they happen to be Toyota engines, would Haas become a Toyota customer?
It's highly possible. I mean,
Toyota Kazoo is a huge reason as to why they are where they are right now.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't think Haas has any particular loyalty to Ferrari other than they're just convenient to have, and you get the full access to the Ferrari wind tunnels and driver academy. But I mean, it doesn't seem like Haas is putting a whole lot of that to work other than Ollie Behrman.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A lot of potentials there. I could see with their partnership growing with Toyota. I almost said Toyota Kazoo. It's Gazoo, G-A.
Yeah.
I can see that growing and maybe heading towards the Toyota thing. But if it's going to require Toyota to have a significant entry into becoming an engine power unit provider, which as of right now, they haven't done any of the paperwork to become certified to be one. I mean, there's a whole process you have to go through with the FAA and F1 management to become a certified Formula One engine provider. So if they are going to do it, it's going to be probably, I mean, it's taken Andretti, 2 years to get Cadillac to the grid. So if Otmar doesn't even have a chassis yet or anything like that, it's going to take him probably at least another 2 to get to that point. So
we could have another reg change by then.
Exactly. So, I mean, we're looking at 2028 at the earliest, but probably 29, 30 before we ever see whatever Otmar's putting out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of speculation. Don't know if we'll ever hear more about it. And
just don't let it be the Disney car, please.
Nobody needs that.
Keep the mouse off my tracks.
Yeah. The House of Mouse need not participate. And then next up, coming out between Miami and Imola, it got dropped that Carlos Sainz Sr., the father of
the smoother operator.
Yeah, I don't know how many time Dakar rally champion. It was like 5 or 6 time champion or something like that.
Good question.
It's a lot. Anyway, But yeah, father of Carlos Sainz Jr., the Williams driver, has entertaining a run for FIA president to unseat Mohammed bin Sulayem.
Please do it.
Yes, and
Please.
it seemed so. There've been a lot of talk of people to actually go do this. Like Susie Wolf has been thrown around a couple of times.
Yep.
A few others, and usually the press will entertain it for a second, but it doesn't get a whole lot of traction, or the person being considered doesn't ever publicly comment on it. It's all rumor. Sainz Senior, for the first time, actually came out and confirmed that he is considering it. He did announce to the press that, yeah, I'm taking this. This is a serious thing I'm considering. And the press seemed to love it. Most of the F1 grid seems to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the motorsports enthusiasts of all kinds seem to have a lot of respect for Sainz and want to see him there. His son is the president of the GPDA, Grand Prix Drivers Association, the union for the drivers. So it just makes sense that they could get along well there. And
Sainz Mafia. Yeah.
Sainz Mafia, we're here for it. So yeah,
And honestly, the only thing that would really get in the way are the inner machinations of MBS himself.
right.
He's going to try and put up so many roadblocks to keep that from happening.
Oh yeah, I mean
internally.
he's got so much money in other people's pockets to keep him in that position. It's going to be really, really hard for Sainz to unseat that. However, Sainz,
go ahead.
Sainz has a lot of goodwill with a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think,
that's what I'm saying. If you make the movement big enough,
yeah, I think it
can be
can
done.
happen. And the thing is, Sainz is beloved outside of Formula One. Like he's super well respected in rally and all the other classes of motorsport, GT3,
which are all under the FIA.
which are all under the FIA. And so it's one of those things of, I think Sainz will have a much broader appeal to other classes of motorsport to get involved in changing who's leading the FIA.
Yeah.
So,
And when it comes to leadership itself, I mean, the current president is not a high bar to clear.
true.
It just doesn't.
Nope, not at all. So, yeah, we on the show humbly endorse Carlos Sainz Sr. for FIA president. Our stamp of approval on all of this.
Absolutely.
And also literally anyone else but MBS. I would take a scarecrow over MBS at this point if we're being honest.
For real, yeah. I do want to give a shout out to the F1 cameraman that has to film the weigh-ins after the race, because MBS keeps just happening to be right there,
Yep.
standing right next to the scale, watching these drivers weigh in. And this has happened twice, both at Miami and Imola. The cameraman will pan to the winner of the race, Oscar or Max in these two cases, and he'll see, oh, hey, MBS is in frame, and he'll just scoot over to the right a little bit just to keep MBS behind the driver. It's beautiful.
Selective censoring.
Please keep doing this.
I love it. I'm here for it. Okay, let's jump into quote of the week real quick.
Yeah.
What you got?
My quote of the week is going to be Imola. It's going to be post-quali. The top three, Oscar, Max, and George, are doing their little post-quali interview together. And I don't know how he pulled this off, but George happens to be eating a banana during the interview. And he just keeps leaning closer and closer to Oscar while they're talking. And Oscar just finally has enough. And he's just like, don't get your banana too close to me.
Oh, that's funny.
In the classic dry Oscar way.
As it happens, yes.
The Sandman. And yeah, it was just beautiful.
That's awesome. That's a good quote. Mine is from lap one, turn one, when Max just blasts past Oscar right there. Russell, who's right behind him, goes, "Bleep, Piastri, what's he doing?" It's like the most. I can't do it justice, but it's like the most British sounding. What's he doing? The thing I've.
What?
What's he doing, Mike? That sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's hilarious. It makes me
Yes.
laugh every time I hear it.
It emanates the whole when you're in the fast lane and the car in front of you is going too slow.
Yes.
It's that exact same feeling.
It is, to a T. All right. With that, let's roll into a couple rounds real quick of driver versus driver.
Heck yeah. Let's see here. You've got the activity hat, I believe.
I think I do.
We've got drivers. We'll pick two drivers and or team principals. And you've got an activity for us to put them in. Contestant number 1 is Kimi Antonelli.
Gimme.
And contestant 2 is Charles Leclerc.
Kimmy and Charles.
The two hometown heroes from the past 10 upcoming races.
True that. Kimmy and Charles are 7th grade substitute teaching.
Huh.
Considering Kimmy hasn't even finished school yet.
Yeah. I think that something tells me these kids are going to just make fun of Charles.
Yes.
And mentally break the man.
Yes. You gotta find him sitting in the under the bleachers in a gym, sobbing somewhere.
Yeah, hiding in the corner of the teacher's lounge. Yeah. I don't know. I think Kimmy would really get along with these kids somehow.
Because he's young enough.
Because he's young enough. Yeah.
I'll give it to Kimmy.
I got to give that one to Kimmy.
Yep. Points to Kimmy.
All right. Next up, we have Gabriel
Bortoletto.
versus Zach Brown.
Ooh. Hide your tire water. Bortoletto and Zach Brown, and they are ballet dancing.
Oh, Bortoletto. Sorry, Zach, but
Zach didn't have enough grace and poise.
not a whole lot
for
of grace. Yeah, the center of gravity is a little skewed, if you will. I'm calling Zach Brown fat.
Tisk.
My apologies, but yeah, no, sorry. Between just the age and the athleticism, yeah, we got to give that one to Gabriel.
Yeah, Bortoletto's a stick.
Yeah.
He'd definitely win that one, I think.
Yeah.
All right,
Points
one more.
to Gabriel. All right. We have Yuki Tsunoda
Yuki-san.
versus Christian Horner.
Boston employee there.
Yep.
They are building pillow forts.
Oh.
I don't want Christian Horner in my pillow fort.
Oh, dude. Here's the thing. Yuki is extremely picky and artistic.
Yes.
So I can see him making a really intricate pillow fort.
Yes.
Almost a samurai castle pillow fort.
Just a little bit.
And yeah, Christian's just looks like an insane asylum. It's just straight walls.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give that one to Yuki.
Same. Yeah.
And with that, we have a new leader in the driver versus driver scoring.
Do we?
We have in first place Yuki Tsunoda with 3 points.
Let's go.
Tied
my boy
for second.
Yuki.
Tied for second, we have Ayo Komatsu, Fernando Alonso, and Esteban Ocon.
Man, the Japanese are really dominating.
They
this, aren't
really
they?
are. And then rounding out for best of the rest, we've got James Vowles, Christian Horner, Zach Brown, Lewis Hamilton, Fred Vasseur, Alex Albon, Gasly, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Stroll, and Bortoletto with 1 point each.
So it's starting to diversify a little.
Just a little bit. And we've got plenty of representation from the team principals on there, which I'm glad
We
for.
do, yeah, which is good.
I'm
And
here
yeah,
for it.
still got plenty of season left.
Yep. And team principals and drivers to switch out, which I feel like that was not entirely a fair round. We need to replace Jack Doohan with Colapinto in the hat.
Yeah.
Obviously. We have a couple team principals, I guess, to swap out too. Because
We do.
I've got Ollie Oaks still in there and Jonathan Wheatley.
Yeah,
Needs
we
to
can
be
change
added
those out.
for Sauber, so we can do that for the next episode. But
Yep.
all things being equal, it's a wide field, and there's plenty of races left. So, all right. Anything else for the tinfoil hat party?
No, sir.
All
Putting the
right.
hat away.
All right. I think that will about do it for this one. Like I said, we'll be watching Monaco this weekend, and then we roll straight from there into Barcelona. So the European stage of the season is in full swing.
Yes.
I'm super excited. We got 6 races until summer break?
That sounds right. We got to get ourselves a 2025 calendar.
I
on the
know.
wall.
So let's see. We got, where is my calendar here?
Those
So
are the
we've
previous
already
races.
done. There we go.
There it is.
So yeah, we've got Spain, Canada, Austria, British Grand Prix, Spa, Hungary. So yeah, including Monaco, 7 races, and then we get the summer break.
Sweet.
So yeah, first half of the season is well underway. So plenty of.
It's been an entertaining one so far.
It really has. It's still very much up for grabs. We've had quite a bit of McLaren dominance here in this first half, but if last year taught us anything, it ain't over till it's over.
It's true.
It can literally come all the way down to Abu
Absolutely.
Dhabi if it need to be.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? Any saved rounds?
No, sir. Just want to give a big shout out, and thank you to everyone for your patience.
Yes.
In our little absence. It was not intended, but yeah, like we said, life happened. So
Life happens. Life gets in the way. There's bigger priorities. As much as we love F1, sometimes important things happen, like the things that pay my day job.
yeah, the paycheck's got to come in somehow.
Exactly. This isn't possible without support. So,
Yep.
but yeah, with that, we'll catch everybody on the next side after Monaco. Thank you all for listening. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Matt.
Be sure to like and subscribe on any platform that you listen to. It really does help. And with that, we'll catch you on the next one. Pit strategy complete.